There's a pretty fort. What's this guy?
Are we live? Yeah. Good morning and welcome to Sebastopol Rotary Sunrise. Good morning, October 25th. We'll start with the pledge. Gail Thomas.
Please face the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thought for the day. Charlie Judson. Is Charlie here? No. So I have a thought for the day. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is a little voice at the end of the day that says, I'll try again tomorrow. Joe.
Hey, Bill. How's it going?
Great, how are you?
All right. Watch ball game last night?
I did not.
Anybody here a Dodger fan?
Yeah!
Boom! Boom!
Polarize the crowd.
Who's an Astro fan? No, I'm not an Astro fan either. Well, anyway, in deference to Bruce and you other folks who might be it better not be a Dodger song. How about take me out to the ball game, though? All right. With the Giants. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back to its root. Root for the Dodgers. If they don't win, it's a shame. But it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
Before you sit down, take a minute or two and greet someone.
Good to see you again.
President-elect Matt, do we have any visiting Rotarians today?
No, we're not. I know definitively.
Okay, no visiting Rotarians. Do we have any guests today? Please stand.
I have a guest. I have 2 guests, actually. Jody Garcia is our student of the month from Laguna High School. And Ken Cromwell, the principal, and his escort.
And we'll be hearing from them a little bit later.
I have 2 guests with me today. This is Barbara Vogelsang and John Lucis. They're the heroes we have from our hospital, and we need to thank them for all the work they did this last 2 weeks.
Thank you. Welcome.
We have this morning Diana Andrea, Bench Winner.
Morning, Diana.
Marty.
And in addition to Andrea, who is here as our exchange student, I'd like to introduce Andrea's new host mom, who is Lori Sacco. Lori Sacco is owner and manager of Vanguard Properties here in Sebastopol and lives up on Mill Station Road with her family and added Andrea to her family. How about that?
Oh, wonderful. Terry.
Bill.
Oh, sorry.
This is the $100 mic handle.
So I would like you all to extend a warm Rotary welcome to my daughter Elizabeth. She's coming back for the payoff. We have cookie dough here. Lizzie, you want to say something?
Cookie dough for Twin Hills.
So if you have any cookie dough that you bought from me over there, just come see.
Thank you very much for your support for the school.
And if you didn't buy cookie dough, you can still just make a donation for it. Yes, Dan?
I'd like to extend a welcome to our speaker today, Chris Dance. We'll hear from him more later.
Great. Welcome, Chris.
President Bill, I have the pleasure of introducing Nicholas Gurney.
Good morning, Nick. How are you? Anything more to add to any excitement? I didn't have any good pictures of you this week wearing a dress or, going to the beach.
So, about last Tuesday, I switched host family. Lori and Wolfgang, who's my host dad, picked me up, and it's been a week, and I gotta say it's wonderful. I think we have a good time, and as an exciting, we were watching the Warriors game the other day, and spontaneously they decided we're going to watch a real game with the ball tickets for the game against Sacramento. Yeah, so that's exciting.
Wow, great. I'd like to thank today's greeters, Nikki and Lori Darrow. And our mic team, Marty Webb and Terry Kelly.
A-Team's back again.
And now, for our Student of the Month presentation.
So our student of the month today is Jody Garcia. He's a junior at Laguna High School. He just excuse me. So he's been at Laguna since the beginning of the year, I think. And he's interested in math, which is kind of unusual. And he's also interested in creative writing. That's one of the fun things he likes to do over at Laguna. So I'm going to let you talk to him for just a second. He'll tell you a little bit about what he likes to do and what he plans to do. So, Jody.
Hi, I'm Jordy. I do like math. I want to pursue a career in accounting. Anything to do with math. And I want to go to college. I want to be the first in my family to have a college. My mom's always been there for me. She's the only one I have, so to make her happy and then I'm happy. So, and I just want to thank everyone that was involved with this for acknowledging my hard work and effort that I put into getting this work. Thank you.
So, Jody, we got this beautiful plaque for you that you can put in your bedroom or somewhere in your house. It talks about what exemplary things you have done over the school and how everybody loves you and how you've been responsible. So you can have that and hang that proudly. We also have some money for you, but I forgot to pick it up. So, it's coming over here. So what kind of things do you like to write about in your creative writing?
I talk about anything I'm feeling or that was disturbing me, or just goals or dreams that I have.
That sounds great. So there's $50 for you. So let's give him a big round of applause for the wonderful job he's done.
Congratulations, good job.
Couldn't help it. Bring the cardiologist to table number 1 visit too over there.
And our vocational talk today, we have Nancy Wilson.
Exactly. Okay, except I really can't
can't do any slides because everything has to be pre-approved ahead of time, so Brian knows how that is. Okay, so, born in San Francisco, raised in Tiburon. When I was about 5, they were asking me if I wanted one of those little bouncy horses. And I said, no, I wanted to ride a real horse. So that's when I started riding. And I think it was about 22 times I fell off. I stopped counting. I think I was about 14. So that was kind of the beginning of my horse career, I guess. Saved up, bought my first horse when I was 15, bred her to an Arab. She was a half Arab, and I bred her to an Arab, so started breeding Arabians. Went to work, my first and last attempt at the corporate ladder, sort of glass ceiling thing. I worked at a bank. We moved into Montgomery Street and did the head office there. And I kind of realized that wasn't what I was cut out to do, so I quit that, started working for myself back in the days when you used to do computer cards, punching thing, and that's how you ran programs. Yes, that old. So did that, started giving riding lessons, taught cross-country jumping and stadium jumping. Got involved with a horse breeding farm and did their books, their accounting, found out I was really good with numbers.
And horses.
That will help you somehow. And took that into partnerships. So the horse ranch where I worked, they put together partnerships for mares, stallions, breeding, all that, and I did all their accounting for that. And then after Logan came along, I started deciding that I needed a real job. So went back to work, and when you go to the agencies, they give you, math tests and try and place you in the appropriate type of job. And she came out, she said, oh, you did really good on the math test, you only missed one. I said, no, I didn't. Their answer key was wrong. I got them right. Anyway, so I got a job at this little broker-dealer, and they're the ones that started the secondary business, hence the REIT. So limited partnerships, different type of investment vehicle, not something that's tradable. So stocks and bonds that you get from your broker are tradable. These are non-tradable type programs. Different in your taxes, it doesn't show up on your statement, you get K-1s or 1099s. So a little completely different type of investment vehicle. They started this secondary firm, which ended up, my partner and I there ended up buying the business. I ended up selling it to her and starting it on my own again for the third time, like in 1995. And the market has been, which was primarily limited partnerships then, turned out to be more of the non-traded REITs. REITs are real estate investment trusts. They're set up differently than a tradable REIT, in that a tradable REIT is sort of never ending. So if you're buying stocks or bonds, bonds have a limit, but stocks, it has an infinite life. You buy it, you sell it, the REIT keeps going on, or the stock keeps going on. With these non-tradable REITs, there's a finite life. They're supposed to end in anywhere between 1.5 years and 20 years. So different setup. It's been an interesting business. I've been doing it for over 30 years. Most of my clients are either Arizona, Florida, a couple in DC. So most of these people, I actually, in all 30 years, I haven't met. So I've had a phone relationship with them forever. So it's been kind of interesting. At one point in my life, as far as animals, which I forgot to say, I've had 7 horses, 36 chickens. Now I have foxes and deer and raccoons, so no chickens. Let's see, 3 dogs, 4 cats, and I don't know what else. So, been in Sebastopol since 1979 and not going anywhere.
So now we know a lot more about Nancy that we didn't know before. Okay, so Bill's Beatles tie of the week. Anybody guess it?
Blackbird. Yeah, Blackbird.
What's the LSD here? Yellow submarine.
Blackbird.
Help. Since Mother Mary comes to me, seems kind of stylized. Okay.
Bill, was that made by Yoko?
What's that?
Was that tie made by Yoko?
Oh, yeah. So, again, October is Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. And so I have some statistics that might be kind of interesting in that regard. Worldwide, 35% of women have experienced physical and/or intimate partner or non-partner sexual violence. Half of all women were the victims of half of all who were victims of homicide in 2012 were killed by their intimate partners or family members. Half. That's worldwide. In the United States, every day, on average, 3 or more women are murdered by their partners or husbands. Every day, on average, over 10 million women in every year, over 10 million men and women are victims of intimate partner violence. Between 1994 and 2011, the rates of serious intimate partner violence actually fell by 72%. So having an awareness and prevention program going with companies like NFL and public service announcements and things is working. But we need to do more. More than half of all women killed by intimate partners between 2001 and 2012 were killed with guns. I have a video, but it's not, the audio isn't playing just like the audio can play for my Beatles thing, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip it because it's without the, but if you go online, there are quite a number of public service announcements that are, like one minute long or something like that. So, where's Louis? Yeah. Louis. Who gets the fine?
Well, it was a Chevy.
Oh! Well, that is definitely, he's paying the fine.
The only Chevy I ever sold.
I don't believe that.
You sold it to him?
Yeah, my Mercedes, which was a hand down from my wife when she got her new car, decided to give me a series of $600 repairs all at once, $2,400 repair, a $1,300 car, and even I can do that math. So, looking around, Joe was very helpful, and I can see the grit in his teeth, but he did show me the Chevy Equinox. It fit the needs, and the price was right. And the good news is that I had still 17,000 miles under its warranty, which was the make or break. And now I'm driving around and it looked like a mini version of my Mercedes SUV.
Well, that's only going to cost you $5, and you get a wine glass.
Hey!
So, this day in history, on October 25th in 1760, King George III was crowned King of Great Britain. Also on October 25th in 1972, this was the day that Adlai Stevenson went to the UN and pulled out those pictures and started showing where the Soviet missile bases were in Cuba. And he asked the Soviet ambassador to the UN, are you going to tell me, are you going to admit that they were there? And he said, I am not prepared to answer at this point. And Adlai Stevenson said, I am prepared to wait until hell freezes over. That was a great book with him on the news. Anyway, Birthdays in history. This was the day that Admiral Richard Byrd was born. Richard Byrd was an American explorer. He was also an admiral, and in the Navy, he was the first man to visit both the North and the South Pole. Also born today, Minnie Pearl in 1912. Minnie Pearl, in addition to being a comedian who appeared on Hee Haw and things like that, she was also an author. She wrote 5 books and she recorded 12 albums. And she got breast cancer late in life and donated much of her fortune to breast cancer awareness and the Nashville medical system. So good for Minnie. I'm going to skip by Happy Bucks and go right to a fundraiser we got coming up for victims of the fire and living room. And this is going to be the 4th annual toy drive and chili cook-off. Dana, would you like to say just a quick thing about this? Is December 2nd, going from 12 until 4 p.m.
Yes, thank you for letting me be a longtime visitor, wannabe member. To make my life work, I'm in Napa right now, thinking about joining. And in the meantime, when FEMA leaves and the fairgrounds close down, which I hear is within the week, it's the living room and organizations like that that help with women and their children have a place to belong and go to, are going to be quite bombarded. So now more than ever, we definitely need to rally around that. And I know that the living room is well supported by this group for years. And also, the Fire Victim Fund is the Resilient and Futures Fund that came out of this fire, which is a coalition of 7 different nonprofits, including the Arlene Francis Center, Daily Acts, Farmers Guild, CAF, and a few others. Come and see me if you're interested. I'm looking for volunteers, sponsors, chili competitors, and judges if you feel that you're smart enough to. We also to pick out the best, and I'm sure that there's going to be a few of those in here that I will make a judge based on last year. Lastly, yes, I want to thank this group for everything that you contributed to my life. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Nick, what is the date of that again, Diana?
December 2nd. Yeah, Saturday, December 2nd. We're going to have real snow.
So I'll get that added to our announcement calendar here in the near future. This month's SCARC meeting, Sonoma County Association of Rotary Clubs, has been canceled. Too many things going on with the fire. There was talk about canceling this year's foundation dinner, which is November 4th, a week from this Saturday. But that actually is still going to go on, correct? Yeah, okay. Other announcements? Linda?
John, good morning, glad you're here. I just want to tell everyone, we had a fabulous time at the harvest party, and we bought our tickets a long time ago, and then we got this wonderful email that all the proceeds were donated to the fire relief, and I just want to thank you, John, for all that you do.
Louis?
We had an Interact meeting, we have every alternate Tuesday, but last week we had the results of their club drive. So just before the fire, Thursday before the fire, all the clubs get out and try to solicit new members. And we walked in, and I had a heads up that there might be 66 people who were interested in joining the club that had already about 35 to 36. Over the time, because some of the interest waned with some of the smaller, younger kids, but together with Bob Keeler, who came, and Nikki Larson, who came and watched, we had 66 interactors. Wow. In a fairly small school to be prepared to handle it. So I was impressed, and, you know, if you want to ask Nikki or Bob, you know, I'm sort of biased, because I know these guys, but if they want to add anything to what they saw about the enthusiasm of the young people, it's up to you. Okay.
Apparently Bob does. Bob's not shy. That was 16 pizzas. And where are they from?
Everything. Half Barstow Pizza, which is sponsored by Mark Olson, and then because of the volume, I had to be a budget conscious. I got another bunch from Little Caesars, a lot less expensive, not nearly as good, but they all disappeared with one slice.
I have one additional comment to make, announcement. You know, Mark frequently, or I guess a couple of times a year, goes up to some club in Washington. I don't know how he got connected with them, but he always brings wine along, and there's a wine auction, a donation, and then he gives that money to that club. He went up there again, I guess, relatively recently, and brought some nice wine, and they auctioned it off for $1,650, which normally would have gone to that club. And I got a letter from the president of their club, and she said, first of all, you need to know what a fantastic Rotarian Mark is, which we already knew. But they said for him to come up with everything that's going on here in Sonoma County and continue to do that just blew us away. So we decided as a club, we're going to turn around and send that money back down here to add to the Firewood Fund. Jim.
We just had our Code Blue meeting, which is a homeless advocacy group, and there was a lot of talk about the laundry voucher program I mentioned to you before. It's one of the ways that the homeless people get their dignity back by cleaning their clothes, drying their sleeping bags and stuff like that. And at the meeting, we got a donation for $225, and already I worked the room this morning, I got 40 more bucks. So we're looking at $1,200 a year so that the homeless people can have dry clothes and clean clothes. And if anybody wants to donate, that would be wonderful. The police were there at the meeting, and they're going to see if they can get some money from their union. And we're going to get this $1,200 done and keep it rolling. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So, as many of you know, I work telemedicine as a nonprofit thing, and this club has not been really involved directly with, or financially with, any of the telemedicine projects for the last 3 years or so. But we're coming for you sooner or later. First we have to base them. But I wanted to say that we were talking, I'm working with Rotary clubs in Sonoma County, and we're doing a project launch at the end of next month, a week after Thanksgiving, at a cancer hospital in Nepal. And through the networking that we do, one of the people on the call planning this project launch is from Australia, so we have Rotary Club of Sydney, Australia, and the Rotarian that's converging in Nepal said, I'll contribute $1,000 for this project. So she transferred the money up to Nepal. So we get contributions from Rotarians all over the world to help make these projects happen. But you guys would like to know.
Thank you. Bill,
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. John Boletto is going to be inducted into the Hanley Athletic Hall of Fame Saturday. So, congratulations to John.
This Thursday at 5:30 at HIPSAS, we're going to have our first Christmas committee meeting. So, naughty or nice, you can still come. Thanks.
Thank you, Kathy.